Can you imagine Trish Stratus driving her head into your crotch? Oh, JR, never ever change. I'm John Renton with the Retro Review of WWE Raw from December 10th, 2001. The fallout from Vengeance 2001. Chris Jericho is a new Undisputed Champion, the first ever Undisputed Champion. And we get to see what happens in a steel cage match with Chris Jericho versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And also, this will be the second to last retro review that I've done with this episodic coverage, which I will finish off with the following SmackDown with the Supermarket Steve Stakes, as it were. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys have to say, because WWE was in a weird period at this point, because going with Chris Jericho as the first ever Undisputed Champion, again, in quotations, was a gamble. Now, I won't say that he did bad. In fact, I think it was nice that they finally, tried to go with something new, something unexpected. They just didn't follow through with it all that well. We had a lot of dodgy finishes, and the whole build to Triple H versus Chris Jericho WrestleMania 18 was dire, to say the least. But before that, they're in Anaheim, California. I think that's how it says. It's a busted hunt. Gross. So, JR and King welcome us. Here's Ric Flair with both titles to present them to the winner. He said he would do it no matter who won. And here's Chris Jericho. He has a lot of people to thank. Says he believed in himself and that he knew he would pull through last night. He knew that he would win. And thanks, Rock and Austin, for, giving it their all and everything and being smarmy. And he beat them single-handedly, which he obviously didn't. There were shenanigans in one match, and especially shenanigans when he faced off against Austin with Booker T interfering. More on Booker T later. And says that he thanks the people because he realized he didn't need them cheering him to succeed. And he thanks Vince for making it a fair fight, and then thanks Flair. And, a man of his word, he would be there and everything, and he presented the titles to be there with a larger-in-life character, all that, And then Flair says, well, champ, you're going to defend those championships against Stone Cold Steve Austin inside a 15-foot-high steel cage. And the fans look up there. Oh, that's why the cage is up there. Yeah, whatever. This is back when ratings actually, were still pretty high up because people were actually interested in what WWE was doing instead of mocking it ironically and unironically and thironically. So Undertaker took on Spike Dudley in a hardcore title match. It really didn't last long. Spike got in a few shots, but got glommed and hit with a last ride onto a trash can. And then Undertaker said, hey, Spike, chokeslam outside. No, boom. That's it. That's pretty much it right there. Booker and Vince arrive with security and doges. Big doges. Really, really big doge. Actually, just big dogs. Flair's upset because Vince clocked him at the pay-per-view. Vince says that Booker T is here as his guest. Be his guest. Be his guest. Be my great Booker Vest. Okay, I screwed that up. I'm sorry. Ha ha. But, yeah, he says that Flair's running the show, but I've made a match since I'm 50-50 owner, and says Rock and Trish will face the Dudleys for the tag titles. But then Booker is going to be his guest, but that being said, Flair says, well, your new champion, Chris Jericho, is going to take on Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's not what I had in mind for Austin. So, anyway, Booker T's in a suite and not being the servant or whatever. I'm surprised the WWE didn't have him be the servant, given how they utilized him pretty much after this. So, weird metal mix for Kurt Angle's theme, which I never understood. He talks about vengeance and Vince McMahon getting his face shoved in Rikishi's ass. And he shows footage. And he keeps going on and on in detail. And he takes on Rikishi and gets counted out after a couple minutes. Rikishi does the dance with no pants because he's in tights. And then Angle attacks him. Gets, hit with the stink face in the corner, staring up at the spotlight, and then the dance again, and then Angle lays him out with a chair. Beats him endlessly with a chair. Welcome back, Rikishi. The Dudleys talk strategy, and that they're nervous facing an undefeated tag team, and Stacy says she knows what to do with Trish. Stop thinking about it, Zach. I know you're thinking about it. So, Flair is talking to Lance Storm. He wants a shot. Flair says no. This is a running theme for a little bit. Edge, puts over Regal as being tough, but that he beat him, and he mocks him with a bad UK accent, and then Regal fists him hard from behind with the brass knucks and, just knocks him and everything. Will Sasso's in the crowd. Remember Will Sasso? Oh, he took on Bret Hart. Remember that? I mean, I don't know actually if he took him on necessarily, but Bret put him in a sharpshooter at one point. Good television on WCW's part. Nothing against Will Sasso. It was just a bad idea. Can't imagine why Bret Hart hated his time in WCW. Like, working with celebrity. Instead of being the hottest star, working for 2.65, 2.75 million, whatever the fuck it was, a year. Yeah, let's just not utilize him and let's just, freaking, bury the fucker for no fucking reason. So Lance still wants a shot. Flair says no. And then Regal is, knocking the fans and everything and saying that he's a new William Regal with blackjack and hookers. Actually, Blackpool Jack and hookers. Okay, shoehorn that fucker in. He took on Kane. Kane does big man stuff, misses the clothesline outside, hits a big clothesline inside a little bit later. Regal gets the Nux, hits him in the gut, hits him in the head, hides him. Somehow the referee doesn't see, but Kane throws his arm back, or actually I think it was this arm, throws the arm back and hits Teddy Long. Just enough for the Nux shots. 1, 2, 3. And Regal's celebrating with the power of the punch. Vince and Booker are watching on during this whole thing, especially for Rock and Trish versus the Dudleys. So Stacy was in the corner. And at one point, we see a shot of a sign in the crowd. Stacy, I've got your wood. I now question how Zach managed to travel back in time to a show in Anaheim in 2001. What is your secret, Zach? He knows who he is, by the way. Zach, you're awesome. Rock did 2-on-1 for most of it. Stacy got Trish from behind and made her take it face first. Just going to let that visual sit right there. Whether it's 2001 or 2021 versions of them. And can you imagine Trish Stratus diving headfirst into your crotch, says JR, because they did the what's up thing. And then Rock and Trish tag team Stacy. Trish goes right into Stacy's Keebler cookie. And then we get Test coming down to attack The Rock because he's distracting Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson. And 3D to Trish, 1, 2, 3. Melee afterwards. Rock gets laid out by Test. Test versus Rock. That'll put butts in seats. So anyway, Vincent is kind of promo in the skybox, and they wave back and everything. And then Vince sees Vince messes up Rikishi's name or whatever, even though you would think that he would know how to say it. Give a name that you can actually pronounce, Vince. And it's a new club, the Vince McMahon Kick Your Ass Club, and so many members have joined. Trish, tonight, Rock, a couple times, Stone Cold, and various others and everything. And to join, all you have to do is cross the boss. So, after he puts over Booker T, we cut to a sign in the crowd that says, Booker T stole my car. Racism! Hooray! Anyway, Lita tells Matt that she loves him. And Matt's upset because of vengeance, not seeing the foot on the rope, and says, like the Hardy Boys, we're breaking up. Boy, Matt being a full-on dick here. And then they actually did break up a few years later. Because Edge speared Lita. I mean, whatever. I don't fucking care what people do. But boy, Lita got a raw deal there. Wait, okay, that phrase, I saw that going differently in my head. But, Lita's upset. Jeff's trying to comfort her. And then Michael Clark Duncan in the front row choking out King. I'm sad now because Michael Clark Duncan was a delight in various films. Even in The Island. You know The Island, they ripped off Parts of Clonus Horror. That's not Michael Clark Duncan's fault. Look it up, folks. Look up the premise of Parts of Clonus Horror, and then look up the premise of The Island. You might know similarities or whatever. So many similarities are hitting you in the skull. So Matt took on Jeff and Lita. No one wanted to see them fight at this point. Lita Karana, after Matt and Jeff had a battle. We get a mess senton. Lita gets tagged. And then ends up getting hit with the most devastating maneuver in all professional wrestling. Surprise, roll up 1, 2, 3. Storm says he still wants a shot. Flair says, you win, fine. You don't, I don't want to see you again. And then Storm loses at a big show in a couple minutes. Moving on. Booker was worried that somebody poisoned the sandwiches. So he tested the sandwich and then got upset at the woman because she didn't give him the sandwiches that he wanted her to hold while he tested one. Booker was an odd duck. So, Austin's backstage. What? Vince McMahon and Booker T screwed Stone Cold. I'm not going to cry about it, not going to whine about it. I'll take my ball and go home later. Wait, no, sorry, that's what happened later. He ate a lot of food, lots of beer, shots of whiskey, margarita, all that. Geez, all the onions on the burger. He's not going to feel too well. He will beat Jericho. He didn't beat Jericho. Jericho bled. It was a steel cage match for the Undisputed Championship. Austin kept glomming him and beating him up. In fact, Jericho didn't get in a lot of offense on this. And got him back in by doing the middle finger thing. And then Austin got back in, hit him with a stunner, was going to go out. Booker apparently just teleported from the skybox, hit the door into Austin's head. And then Jericho manages to win, despite bleeding heavily, and there you go. That's pretty much it. And that would lead to the Supermarket Steve Stakes on the following SmackDown. And thus will end the episodic wrestling, coverage that I've been doing of the invasion angle and the immediate fallout. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.